This episode was brought to you by Nail It and Scale It, the world's leading fast growth program for business. We are back with our next installment of Unstoppable. After having such a big break, Unstoppable is back, better than ever, and we have the one, the only, the incredible professional Australian boxer and world champion, Jason Moloney. Let me try that again. Moloney. Okay, you ask, what are some of the things? Actually, we could probably...
Mate, I do that.
Yeah,
I do that.
It's all right, mate. We've both got brain damage. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honour and pleasure to welcome to Unstoppable for the very first time. We have Jason Moloney, Australian professional boxer and current... What is it?
WBO
World Champion boxer. Jason, so good to have you here, brother.
It's an absolute honour to be here, mate, and bloody good to see you.
Mate, really good to see you. It's been a long time between swings. Now, I feel like you and I have a little bit of an unfair advantage because we know each other. We've known each other for a little while now. I've had the great pleasure of being involved in a couple of fight camps with you and Danny Green and Angelo Hyder, and I've lived to tell the tale. But one of the things I'm noticing with Australian boxing is, there are certain people that seem to be, let's call it what you call big brand names, and everybody knows them. But there are some people that kind of almost slide just above the radar and don't necessarily get the recognition that they deserve. And you're one of these characters who, you're such an incredible fighter, you're such an incredible boxer. But by virtue of what I would consider you being one of the nicest blokes that I've probably ever met in my life, you're non-controversial. You're definitely not a mundane kind of guy. You don't seem to be as well known or as well recognized as you deserve to be. Why is boxing such a popular sport when it comes to being recognized at a high level and being visible and and being in the media to the degree that some people are? When you look at Zoo, for example.
Yeah. Look, it is a shame that I am, I guess, not well known, given the fact that I'm current world champion.
Well known, but not as well known.
Not in Australia as much, which is hard because I've been promoted by Top Rank, which is an American promoter. So majority of my fights, probably for the last 3 to 4 years, have been in America.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, that's where the big fights are. I've had some great opportunities. I've been able to obviously achieve my dream and become world champion, but I haven't had that. I guess haven't been in the limelight in Australia, and I haven't fought in Australia very often, and I haven't had, I guess, the publicity or the media attention that someone like Zoo has had. And it's a shame because that is important to me. I do want to, I guess, get the whole country behind me and get a bit of a, support base here, and I guess be recognised for my achievements. But I think that'll come, hopefully. And yeah, I guess I've had to do it the hard way. Go overseas, fight on foreign land, and I guess be in the backyard of the opponents, and it's paid off. I've become world champion, but now I've got the belt. I want to bring some big fights here and help build the name in Australia, and hopefully that'll start very soon.
So they say a prophet isn't recognised in his own town.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that's a bit of the scenario here. But maybe we need to kick off with a little bit of controversy. Is there anyone we need to call out? Is there anyone you want to go, motherfucker, I'm going to take you, I'm going to eat your children?
No, and that's the thing. And it's a shame that is sometimes necessary in boxing, but I think you just got to be yourself as well. And people have said, maybe you got to make a bit more noise and be a bit more controversial and, call people out and be a bit disrespectful in a way. But
it's just
not me.
So not who you are.
It's just not me. And I think when you see people do it and you can see straight to it, that's just not them, and they're putting on this fake persona, and it just, to me, it's just cringy. And I just think it's important to be myself. And although it doesn't get the media attention all the time, I just got to be who I am and keep it natural and authentic.
Maybe we should call out like Conor McGregor, because I reckon you kick his ass. You listening, Conor?
Yeah,
you're just a mouthpiece, mate. You're an Irish mouthpiece who drinks way too much whiskey. And boy, here Moloney, he's ready to take you on. Should we back that up?
I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. But yeah, like you see, he's
would
a prime example.
Would you have a crack at Conor?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
and I mean, there's a big weight difference, but. I mean,
but you'd have a go.
I'd have a go, of course I would. But he's a prime example. Look what he's done for himself and how successful he is. And I mean, he's barely won a fight in the last 4 years, but he's still
raking it in.
Yeah.
But it's almost like what we were talking about before with Logan Paul. Like, I thought Logan Paul was a stain.
Yeah.
I thought Conor McGregor was just a loudmouth. No doubt, great fighter in his day.
Mm-hmm.
but I was never attracted to McGregor. I was never attracted to Jake Paul. Sorry.
Yeah.
But then I watched the Conor McGregor documentary, and I was like, fuck, I like this guy.
Yeah, me too.
There's a real likable character there, but he's got this real manufactured persona. You know, it's very pikey, very pikey persona, where he just is able to create this a persona. And then you look at, Jake Paul. Jake Paul is, the ultimate combination of athlete, social sensation, but also he's now a promoter, and he promotes so well. Do you ever look at those things and go, well, you know what, it's not me, but maybe there's a skill set there that I can learn and perhaps develop and acquire over time that can really help me foster and develop a career? Yeah,
definitely, I do. And I think I do need to start making a bit more noise maybe. I'm in the peak of my career, and I need to make the most of this. This career that I love is very short and short-lived, and it's coming quickly to an end. I mean, I still feel fresh, and I'm in my prime.
You look fresh.
But I am 32, 33 next month, so time's ticking away in a sense.
How old's Conor?
Is
that 38 or something? How old's Conor?
No, maybe not quite 38. Maybe more.
He's like 52. He moves like a 60-year-old. Let's be honest. So.
Well, yeah, and I guess he probably doesn't quite live the clean lifestyle that I live outside the ring. So I do still feel fresh and like I've got plenty of years left in me. But I'm aware that time's just flying by. And I do need to make the most of it while I'm here and maybe start a bit of noise. But as I said, it's important to me to be authentic. And, I can take traits from other people, but at the end of the day, you just got to be yourself, I think. And when you start trying to put on that fake persona, and I think the reason why Conor does it so well is you can see that's him. And there may be another side to him that's a bit more quiet and family man and things like that. But that quick-wittedness and that loud mouth and that real belief and cockiness, that's him. That's natural.
So how did you get into boxing, mate? What is the story?
A few reasons. I'm a twin, as you know. And you're the better looking twin, let's be honest. I know. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Identical twins at that.
Yeah, we are.
You could almost step in for each other in rounds.
Yeah, we could.
If there was
They've been tag team boxing. Have you seen that? Just started tag team boxing. So
yeah, right.
Definitely an interest of mine.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do that soon. But somebody bought me and my brother Andrew a pair of gloves when we were younger. We must have been maybe 10, and we just used to put the gloves on and fight at home and just loved it. Had an absolute ball, and we just beat the shit out of each other. Probably 10 or 11.
And you guys would just slug it out?
Yeah, going for it. Just in the lounge room and no rounds, just
until somebody
someone quit.
What were mum and dad doing?
They didn't love it. And there was a few blood stains on the carpet in the lounge room.
Was this the way your score was all settled as that 10 and 11-year-olds as well?
Whether the gloves were on or not, we used to fight all day, every day. So they were used to it. But I don't even know who bought those gloves because no one in my family was ever a boxer. Dad didn't box. Had a bit of an interest in some of the big fights and things, but never. I was never pushed or shown boxing from him. It just was something that me and Andrew sort of picked up, probably just through natural competitiveness. But boxing didn't really start, apart from the lounge room, until we were 13 years old. We were playing AFL at the time. We're born and bred in Melbourne, and just like any, I guess, Melbourne boy, we wanted to play AFL and loved footy. And in the off-season, we didn't really do much, so we dabbled with basketball and motorbike riding and tennis and any other sport. But eventually we just said to Dad, we want to start boxing, and nagged him for a while. I think he just thought, I'll see this play out. Like, they're just coming at me with another sport. But we just nagged him, and eventually he took us down to the local gym.
This is like 19 years ago.
19 years ago.
19 years ago, most kids were interested in like the fucking Karate Kid or something.
Mate, that got us into it.
Is that right?
Karate Kid, that's a funny story for you to say that.
I'll go there, because Karate Kid got me into martial arts, combat sports.
Karate Kid sort of kicked it off, but it didn't quite go as planned. But me, my brother, I got two brothers. We watched Karate Kid, and we said our parents are divorced, and I think we said to Mum, we want to start karate because we just saw this Karate Kid movie and thought that's unbelievable. And Mum took us to the local karate, what do you call it? I don't know. Dojo, that's it. And we walked in this room, this little hall, and there was a fair few people there. And I don't know, we must have been young. We must have been maybe 6, I'm guessing. and they're doing this big, loud, and we were, we were so intimidated. I think Andrew kicked it off first, just burst into tears.
Oh, Andy.
And I was probably
and this is why you struggle for a belt, mate.
I was probably only a minute or two later. I've burst into tears too. I'm just too intimidated. And we're sitting on the sidelines with Mum crying. We're probably not even 5 minutes into this lesson. And then my older brother Josh hung in there for a bit longer, but within maybe 10 minutes he was out too, and we're back in the car driving home, and just ego's crushed. It wasn't what we imagined, but funny looking back on that now. That
wow.
I'm a world champion. Andrew's a former world champion, and that was the start of our combat sport journey. In tears,
13, you're convincing. Is it mum and dad again?
More. I think we'll probably start to hassle and dad a bit more.
Okay.
They were both very supportive, but Dad was always the one with the sport. He made sure, it didn't matter what sport it was, and he probably wasn't wrapped, it ended up being boxing, but he just wanted us to be active and to play sports. Okay. And always really made sure that we were,
Did you seem to find the biff when you were playing AFL as well?
Yeah, we were pretty aggressive. Yeah, loved tackles. Got in fights a little bit on the field.
Because I'm going to assume, because you're what's your weight class now? It's
Bantamweight.
Bantamweight. So most people would have, on the AFL pitch, much like now, they would have underestimated you.
Yeah, we were pretty small, even back then. And luckily there's weight divisions in boxing. There's not in footy. So, we were very small, even as 13-year-olds. I was, half the size of most people my age. So,
well, it's interesting because my son plays AFL now. He plays this year. I think it's under 10s, under 11s or under 10s for the Brunswick Bulldogs. Yeah. And some of the best players that I've seen in his league are the little guys. Yeah. Like in terms of skill, in terms of speed, they've got it all. That's
what we were like. We were little jets as juniors, but as the kids started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I think it started, that advantage started to slip away. But they used to put me at full forward, and I was the smallest kid on the field, and they just leave him some room, kick the ball down that end, and I was too quick and I'd snag 6 goals a game. And we were pretty good juniors, but in the off season we thought boxing could also help us build some fitness. And initially when we started boxing, it was sort of just to help out footy, get extra fit, get a bit of an edge on the competition. And it was just more so as a bit of a CrossFit. So we went down, started boxing, and we just fell in love with it. And eventually we juggled the two for a while, boxing and footy. And I trained from when I was 13 to when I was 16. I didn't have my first fight till I was 16. And so 3 years of training, but it was only a couple of times a week. As I said, at that stage, it was just for a bit of fitness, so we weren't taking it super serious. But a couple of guys at the gym, some of the older blokes said, you and your brother should start fighting. There's plenty of potential there. You could go far here. And then So
during 13 to 16, did the quality of home bouts improve as well? Like, did it come to the point where it's like you started getting...
I think...
Or did you fight less?
No, I think we fought less.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Parents listen.
Where boxing gets a bad rap. It also made us aware that this is a sport and gives you a bit of discipline. And I think because we'll get in that outlet in the gym, we didn't fight as much at home. We probably still fought a fair bit, brothers, arguments. But, like, people look at boxers as thugs, but I think I've been in like one street fight in my whole life. Like,
you're the most unthuggish boxer or person I think I know.
Well, and I want to change that boxing stereotype. That's important to me as well. So, I reckon I've had one street fight in my life, and I'll avoid a street fight at all costs. Like, I think because you get that outlet in the gym, naturally I'm not that aggressive a guy. Like, when I step through the ropes and it's fight time, I turn it on. But if someone comes up to me on the street and wants to cause trouble, I'll cool it down.
So you don't find anyone, having the profile that you do, wanting to,
No, not really. No. Handful of times, but as I said, I'm pretty good at avoiding those situations, I think. And I think
you just don't have that thuggish vibe.
Nah, that's it. And I probably don't put myself in those situations. I'm not. Greenie.
Can't even take him to the pub.
I probably don't put myself in those situations where there is going to be trouble either,
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so 13 to 16. 16, you had your first fight.
Yeah.
Did you win?
No, I lost my first 3 fights.
Okay.
And Andrew lost his first 7 fights.
Yeah, right.
And then we said,
You're stubborn little fuckers, aren't you?
yeah, that's it. But we are, and but that made us change. Like, we're like, okay, this obviously isn't quite the start we wanted. These guys at the gym that told us there was potential there must have been pulling our leg, but we thought we got to do something here, and we had to choose because it wasn't working the juggle. Footy, boxing. We're only training boxing like 2 times a week because footy was still, I guess, our main focus at that stage. And then going into under 18s in footy, we thought we got to make a decision. It's either footy or it's boxing. And both of us at that stage loved our boxing and decided footy's done, gave it the flick and concentrate 100% on boxing, started training, 5-6 times a week. And then the results turned around. Within a year, we were both on the Australian team, national champions, travelling all around the world, representing our country as amateur boxers. And yeah, we both had about 75 or 80 amateur fights each and went to the Commonwealth Games. Andrew won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, and we got to travel the world and see some amazing places and just fight and chase your dream.
Now, I'm not like a Joe Rogan where I have this infinite understanding of the landscape of mixed martial arts, let alone boxing. But I seem to have this anecdotal belief that not as many people seem to be, stretching their legs to the point where they're having 75, 85 amateur fights before they're turning pro anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems to be, am I wrong? Like, is there...
No, it depends. Like, this 75 fights sounds like a lot, but mate, there's guys in other countries, I know you're talking about Australia at the moment, there's guys in other countries that have 300 amateur fights. Lomachenko, who's, I don't know, you may or not know who Vasyl Lomachenko is. He's Ukrainian. He had 396 wins and 1 loss was his amateur record.
Oh my God.
And they're fighting all the time, and these are the guys we got to come up against.
Yeah, right. It's like Thailand and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Like, you have these 16-year-olds that have like 175, 200 fights.
Yeah. But in Australia, 75 fights is relatively high level. Yeah. And I guess that's because we don't really have the support as amateurs. You don't earn any money as an amateur, so it's very hard to hang around until you're 23,
Do you think it's also a cultural thing?
Because
Because I know when you look at Eastern Bloc, like Ukraine, Russia, it's a hard country.
Yeah.
And so, fighting is a part of their culture in many ways, which is, I think, unfortunate in some ways, but it's a cultural thing in others. And so going to the fights every weekend would be pretty normal. Like Thailand,
definitely.
Every, I think it's even Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and probably in other parts of Bangkok, it's probably every night in a bar somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a 13-year-old having a swing.
Yeah, definitely. And because they're so close as well, like in Europe, for example, like they're having these multi-nation tournaments all the time. They're fighting guys from different countries when they're 12, 13 years old, and they'll fight 4 times in a week. Like in these big tournaments where we're lucky to, like I was lucky to get one fight a month maybe, or one fight every 2 months, So you're waiting, training, you're just not getting anywhere near the experience that these other guys are getting, which is hard as an amateur. But I think you eventually level yourself out as you get some experience and take yourself, around the world and go to America or go to Japan, go to different countries and just get all that experience that you can get. Now it sort of levels itself out. But trying to compete as an amateur, as an Australian that's had, like when I went to the Commonwealth Games, I reckon I'd probably only had 30 fights. Some of the guys you're coming up against have had 200,
Yeah, wow.
So it's a very hard, I guess, experience gap to try and close.
Was that your first, like going to the Commonwealth Games, was that your first like big pressure fight?
Yeah, that was my first real proper international tournament. And I didn't have that much of a successful amateur career. Andrew had a much better amateur career than me. He went to much more international tournaments, world championships, 2 Commonwealth Games. Both of us, unfortunately, missed out on the Olympics. But I didn't have a huge amateur career. I guess that's a good story to tell now. Perseverance, I just stuck at it. But there was plenty of... I lost about 21 fights as an amateur, I think, out of the 75. And, didn't have that, I guess, easy road or, I guess I'm not that naturally talented, but I've just stuck at it and worked hard and kept improving and persevered and got to where I wanted to get.
And so what was the point where you went, okay, I think I can actually make a living out of this and not just being, an enthusiast?
Probably. Well, I missed out on the 2012 Olympic Games, and at that stage, I think I was, off the top of my head, 21 or something like that. And at that stage, I was lucky enough that I was basically a full-time amateur boxer. I was just chasing that Olympic dream. That was all that I cared about at that stage.
So were you a sponsored athlete at this point?
Yeah,
Is that how you're making your way?
I had 2 good sponsors that just helped me get by. I was living at home, didn't have much expenses, so I was just putting everything up, everything I could into my boxing, mainly to make the Olympic Games. And then I missed out in a big experience, and lesson learned. I overtrained so hard for that tournament. I beat the guy in that ended up going to the Olympics in the state trials. So you got to go through states, and you go to nationals, and you get selected. Then you go through Oceanias to qualify for the Olympics. And I beat the guy at the state titles, and then I was like, all right, now we're ready for nationals and the Olympic qualifiers. And I just trained so hard, or wanted it so bad, but to my detriment. I overtrained like anything. I got to the Olympic trials, and I was just burnt bread. I just had nothing and missed out, and I was just heartbroken. 21, some of my mates were, fully qualified tradies, earning good money, buying their first houses. I didn't have a job, no money, living at home with Dad, barely a cent to my name, and the Olympic dream that I was chasing didn't work out. And Dad sort of spoke to us, and he said, all right, you've given this everything, but it's time to pull your finger out, get a job. You're 21, it's time to, I guess, let go of that dream and move on, and I guess start earning some money and look after yourself and become a man. And I took a bit of a break from boxing, and I started a landscape apprenticeship. And for a while there, lived a, I guess, mediocre, normal life where I was just another tradie guy, and it just wasn't for me. I mean, I stuck at it. I did 4 years of landscaping, and then I moved on to plumbing, did 2 years of plumbing as a plumbing apprentice. But always I was just like, after that short break, it was probably only 6 months, I knew that boxing was my love and there was plenty more to achieve, and got back in the gym and kept working. But at the same time, had to start earning some money. As Dad said, you're 21, and I looked at my mates buying their first houses and, setting themselves up, and I had nothing. So I was working, and in bugger all was an apprentice, but I knew that that wasn't the road I wanted to go down, just be a tradie. Boxing was what I wanted to do, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer.
So do you remember the moment you made the decision to turn pro, or what was the what was the lead up?
So I was still an amateur, so as I said, I missed out on the 2012 Olympics, and I thought 2014 Commonwealth Games will go again. And the guy I beat at the 2010 Commonwealth Games, he'd gone on to have a huge amateur career. He was a world champion. He won bronze medal at that Olympic Games I missed out on. And I looked at that and thought, I've beaten this guy. He's just gone and won a bronze medal. So let's have one more crack at the Commonwealth Games, win a gold, and then move and become a professional. And it was such a contrasting story. Andrew qualified for the Commonwealth Games, and I got absolutely robbed and missed out. He went to the Commonwealth Games, won the gold medal. The guy that I'd beaten at the 2010 Games went to the Commonwealth Games, won the gold medal, and I was sitting at home on the couch thinking that should have been me. But again, another, I guess, speed hump in the road, and I just kept training. And instead of, I missed out on the Commonwealth Games in 2014, and I just said, that's it, I'll go professional. And spoke to Dad, said I wanted to go professional, and he wasn't that keen on it at first. And he just said, look, if you're going to do it, it's obviously to be the best in the world. So unless you're at that top level, once you've found your ceiling, and if it's not where you want to get, that's it. Just give up, move on. That's it. Like he said he was always going to pull us up and tell us when it was enough's enough, and not let us, I guess, be abused by the sport. So he said once you lose and find your ceiling, then I'm going to let you know when I think you need to give it up. And thankfully, it's all worked out. I'm still doing what I love, world champion, and just blessed to do what I love for a living.
You've left a lot out in that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
I'm
all right, mate.
Jumping from
No, that's okay. That's my job. My job is to dig get into the weeds.
Yeah.
Because you were training in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And you had a trainer down there.
Yeah.
Manager, I'm assuming, down there.
Yeah.
and then I can't recall the full story, but I think it was you guys approached Danny Green.
Yep.
And what led to the connection? Did you know Danny? Like, had you known Danny for a while?
No, I didn't know Danny, but Danny was always like my idol. Me and Andrew, like the first, because we were really heavily into the amateur boxing scene. Just whenever we sat down and watched boxing, we'd watch amateurs. But then eventually that started to move, and the first, I guess, professional boxer that we gravitated towards was Danny Green. And Dad loved him. We'd sit down with him and watch Danny Green's fights on Main Event, and me and Andrew just loved him. He was our favourite boxer. Loved him the way he was inside the ring, outside the ring, and
he's an awesome human being.
Amazing.
Like, he really is. And, you know, one of those guys, again, when you contrast him against someone like Mundine, you know, he's just a real, maybe slightly more controversial than yourself, but he's just an incredibly good man. Yeah,
amazing human. And that's what we liked about him, because we're not like that mundane loudmouth. And Greenie was controversial in a way, but because he had, I guess, that rival.
Yeah.
You know, he had that guy that he could, I guess.
It's almost his legacy story, is that rivalry with him and Mundine.
An amazing rivalry, the best rivalry we've probably ever had in this country for boxing, and they were great for each other. And, you know, Greenie wasn't someone who would be too outspoken, but perfect in the sense that he could just be himself and didn't get along, or I guess didn't gel with Mundine, and they just clashed, and it built for the beautiful rivalry that it was. But we eventually met Danny Green in America, funnily enough. We're in Las Vegas over there for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And we were at a small hall show the day before, or the night before Mayweather-Pacquiao fought, just in some small hall Mayweather Promotions show, I think. And when we were at the fights, we saw Greenie, went up and spoke to him and got a photo and started chatting. And at that stage... Now,
at this stage, where were you guys positioned?
I think we'd had I think we'd only had maybe 5 professional fights at that stage. I think 5 fights, undefeated, going okay, but a little bit lost. And we said to Greenie, mate, we'd love to catch up when we get back to Australia, sit down for a coffee and just get some advice as to, you know, he was our idol, so we wanted to follow his footsteps, and any advice he could give us we were going to be grateful for. So, and mate, he was unbelievable. Just, no worries, gave us his phone number, and I followed it up, and as soon as we got back to Australia, we went to a cafe and sat down and had a coffee, and he just gave us the blueprint. Introduced us to my manager, Tony Tolge. Introduced us to my coach now, Angelo Hyder, who was also his coach. And they were sort of just managing us for a while and making sure that we were
But at
on
this
the
point,
right path.
you had a trainer, you had a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Did that produce some awkwardness?
Yeah, so that the manager we had to start off with, we'd sort of had a bit of a falling out with. So that transition with making Tony and Angelo our manager wasn't too awkward. But yes, we did have another coach at that stage in Melbourne. And he still coached us, and we were managed by Angelo and Tony for a while. And we got to a stage, I think me and Andrew were both about 14, maybe 15 wins undefeated. But we just felt like we'd reached our ceiling with that coach and where we were in Melbourne. And although we hadn't lost, we felt like we weren't improving the way we wanted to improve, and changes needed to be made. And it was a hard decision, because we'd been with that coach since our amateur days, 15 fights as a professional. We'd been together about 8 years, and you form a pretty special relationship with your coach when you're a boxer. You spend a lot of time together. We'd been overseas, training camps.
They're in your head, aren't they?
Yeah. And you're together, like you spend that much time together, every day training together for multiple hours. You become very close. And that was a very, very hard decision to make. Like, me and Andrew spoke for a fair while, saying I think we need to make a change here, but it was a hard thing to do. It's like, divorcing your wife, I imagine. I've never done that, but you spend that much time with this person, and you love each other, and you're on this road together, but you need to be honest with yourself. And we knew that this is a short career. You only get one chance at it, and we want to go as far as we can possibly get. And when you feel like you're not improving, or you've reached a level where you're just not seeing the improvement. Like, I'm obsessed with improvement every day. If I have one bad training session, or a session that I I leave the gym and feel like I didn't get much out of that. It really pisses me off and puts me in a bad mood because I just want to improve all the time. And anyway, we made the decision. All right, we've got to leave this coach.
Angelo said, okay, in order for me to really help you guys, you're going to have to be up here.
Well, no, we'd made the decision we're going to leave that coach in Melbourne. And we were open to anything. We're open to move overseas. We're open to whatever we had to do to be the best we could be. And Angelo, we'd already had that connection with him because he was helping manage our career. So he was definitely someone on the list that we wanted to try training, see if we gelled. But he just had a massive accident, as you're aware. A tree fell on top of Angelo. This is 7 years ago now. And he was in a bad way at that stage. He was on crutches. He was still recovering from the injury. Didn't know if he'd ever get back to where he wanted to be. Didn't know if he'd ever be able to hold pads together again, or he still had sort of memory issues. He didn't know if he could be a coach. But we spoke to him and said, "Where are you at? Are you still going to coach anyone?" Greenie had just retired, so he wasn't training anyone at that stage. And we just said, "Are you still going to coach? Are you interested in taking us on if we ask you to be our coach?" And he said, "Yeah, I am. I've just moved to northern New South Wales."
Was he in Melbourne once when you were there?
He was originally Melbourne, but then he'd moved to Perth with Greenie. He'd been on the Central. Angelo's lived everywhere.
He's a nomad.
Yeah, but he was originally in Perth when he was training Greenie. Then when Greenie retired, he moved to northern New South Wales. His wife Leanne, her mum and her family are there, so they moved there. Basically after Greenie retired. And we said to Angelo, "Would you take us on?" And he said, "I'll try. I'll do my best, but I can't promise anything because I'm on crutches. I've just had a massive accident. I'm lucky to be alive." But yeah, we took the gamble. We said, "Mate, we're going to come up and train with you for a couple of weeks, do a bit of a trial, see how we click." And me and Andrew jumped on a plane, 2 weeks, training with Angelo. And within the second day, we're like, this is where we need to be. He's going to take us to where we want to get to and take us to the next level.
What was it by that second day that made you know you're in the right place?
His knowledge is unbelievable. But his attention to detail, we're shadowboxing and he's just picking us apart and watching every step we're moving, one little mistake, correcting. And just the way he break down a fight and tell you different scenarios, and he's got a system that he coaches to. It just blew our mind. We'd never been... We were just flying on natural ability and instincts, really, but that can only take you so far. You need to have structure, a game plan, and I guess,
it's like life, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Business, sport.
Definitely.
Talent's only going to get you so far.
Definitely.
There is a structure, there is a plan that's required. And that's what Angelo brought, was the structure and the plan.
And, he was just... We'd never had a coach like that. He's just watching our every move and picking up little bits, and we could just feel straight away, that makes sense. We're improving. And left the gym the first day and felt like we'd already improved. And then next day, already improved. Next day. And
did that start to translate into the fights?
Yeah, definitely. And it takes a while before you click, but I felt like we improved straight away. And even now, we've been together over 6 years, I still feel like I'm improving. And it excites me what the future holds, because obviously I'm world champion now, but I still feel like I've got so much more improvement left. The future is very exciting. But we knew straight away that we'd made the right move, and that's where we needed to be. And we called both our partners and said, we want to move to northern New South Wales. We're obviously from Melbourne, and same as my partner Georgia, she's a Melbourne girl. So it was a hard move to make. I mean, she's got a very tight knit family. They catch up weekly for dinners, and they're really, really close knit family. So she had to make a big sacrifice as well and move interstate. And it was a huge sacrifice to make, but it 100% the right move, and it's paid off.
And Angelo's a pretty committed guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now, I've had a head injury since I've seen you, but I seem to remember a story about a fight that either you or your brother was having, and Angelo couldn't fly. And he had to be driven in a Kingswood or in the back of
That was Danny Green.
Oh, was that Danny? Okay.
Yeah. So before Greenie's last fight against Mundine, which was in Adelaide.
Yeah, right.
Angelo had the accident basically during that preparation. He couldn't really do the 100% coaching role for Greeny in his last fight, which would have been hard for Greeny. But he was recovering, and he had to get to Adelaide to be in the corner, which I don't know how he did it. Like, just he's insane, H. And he was still in a bad way, and couldn't fly, so he had to get to Adelaide. So he jumped in the back of the car, and I think he had to lay down flat.
Yeah.
And they got him to Adelaide, and he was still on crutches and everything, and his head, like, he's still recovering from a massive brain injury. And he's told the story, like, he's in the corner, like, because Greeny got dog shot in that fight early in was it the first round? I think it was the first round. Anyway, referee's breaking him up, holding Greeny's arm, and Mundine hit him flush and just rocked him. Like, Greeny didn't know where he was. And Angelo had to basically talk him through that fight. And they were just lucky they've got that amazing connection. Everything H was yelling out, Greeny would do. Jab, like telling him when to do things, and he just coached him through it. And Greeny, amazing, just like how he could get through that fight after what happened in the first round. He didn't know where he was, and he pulled it out and got the win. But Angelo talks every time he was yelling, he's holding his head like this because his head was exploding. Yeah, but he was still in a bad way at that stage, and you get to lay down in the back of the car and get driven there, and mate, he would have been sore after that fight, just for what he went through and put his body through when he was still recovering, and he's still recovering now. Massive accident, but he's going good, H, and very, very grateful to have him in my corner.
So I get asked a lot by a range of different people in a range of different circumstances, like, how do I find my purpose? So at what point did you know that this is what you were going to dedicate your life to, and how did you know?
Oh, it was just a passion. I just loved boxing, and I wanted to go as far as I could go. And at the end of So did you ever find yourself you'd think about boxing, and then next thing you know, like, hours had passed, or you'd go to train and next thing you know, hours had passed? Yeah, and like when I missed out on the Commonwealth Games in 2014, I was an apprentice landscaper, and I'm going to work every single day, just slugging it out. And all I wanted to do was be in the gym and box. And I actually like landscaping, and that's why I started it. But I was like, do I want to do this for a living? I'm like, nah, I want to box. Like, I want to do something special and do something that I wake up every day and grateful and love what I'm doing. And this isn't it. And I remember, like, I was an apprentice, and I'm going to work every day, slugging it out and just not enjoying myself. And then Andrew was overseas at that stage preparing for the Commonwealth Games, and I'm just thinking, geez, I wish that was me. And then as the tournament progressed with the Commonwealth Games, Andrew wins the first round, and everyone's wrapped. We're watching him on TV, sitting on the couch, and then I go to work, and I'm at work slugging out, digging holes, and all I'm thinking is, Andrew's fighting tonight. He's over in Scotland. He's about to fight tonight in the final of the Commonwealth Games. And here I am at work, and I'm just like, this isn't what I want to do. This isn't the life I want to live. And I remember Andrew won the gold medal, and I was just sitting on the couch. I had to go to bed early because I was getting up to be an apprentice landscaper. And I was like, just saw how happy he was chasing and achieving his dream, having that gold medal around his neck, seeing how proud my dad was. Like, Andrew wins, they both go up and hug each other. It was just the most beautiful thing. And I was in tears, just like, man, like, how special that was. Like, absolutely over the moon for him that he just achieved that. But I was just like, look where I am. This isn't what I want to do. And I want to do everything I can to make that be me and achieve my dreams and make everyone else proud and do what I love, and that's not digging holes.
But it is punching people in the face.
Yes, it is. And that's right. Like, when I had the chat with Dad and said I wanted to go professional, and he said, yep, well, your goal is to become world champion, and as soon as you reach your ceiling, I'm going to tell you. Well, that was always the goal, to be the best. And it wasn't just turning pro to win a national title. Like, the goal was always to be the best in the world. And it's a huge goal when you talk about it or think about it. Like, you're not going to be happy unless you're the best in the world at something. But that was it. It was always the focus. And it was a long, hard journey. I've been pro, 9 years, nearly 10 years now. And yeah, it was a long, hard road. I had 2 failed attempts at becoming a world champion before I finally won that belt right there. And yeah, it was a long, hard road, but I've loved every minute of it. And
So how do you train in combat sports
Mhm.
with the view to win, but also have longevity in a career? Because I remember hearing an MMA fighter, what's his name, St. Pierre?
George St. Pierre.
George St. Pierre, him being interviewed and saying something to the effect of, look, if I was to train like I fight, he goes, my career would be so short.
Definitely.
So how do you condition your body, your head, your mind in a way that enables you to be ready to get in the ring and throw the punches as well as take the punches, but at the same time ensure that you're not cutting your career short? How do you do that intelligently?
Yeah, it's a fine line that you have to try and work out, but I think I do it quite well. And Angelo is very good at that. Very good at, I guess, judging that and controlling that. And yes, you have to have some spars that are heavy, and you'll take some punches, and that's all part of the sport. As you say, they say you can't swim without getting wet. Like, if you're boxing and training and sparring 3 times a week, 10, 12 rounds, you're going to get hit. But it's important that you're smart in the gym, because that's really where the damage is done. Like, the fights can be brutal, yes. Yep. No doubt they have their effect, but it's the rounds and rounds and rounds of sparring that I think have most of the negative effects on your brain and, you know, your post-career, you know, mental health and your brain health. But
that's a real thing. Like, we're seeing this,
100%.
you know, in not just in combat sports, MMA, boxing, you know, but also any sports where there's collisions. We're seeing, you know, this concussion syndrome. And so do you guys have a strategy? Do you guys have a plan when you are sparring that's like, okay, well, if I'm going to spar with you, you're going to spar with me? You know, you clearly need to know if you're open, you know, if you're going to cop one. But is there kind of like an unwritten ground rule or a written ground rule in terms of when you're going to be taking a headshot, like during training? Is it?
No, yeah, when you're sparring, look, you're throwing them. And especially if you're not, if you're sparring someone from your own gym, you might not be going 100%. But when you go in to another gym to spar another fighter, you're both preparing for fights, you're going pretty hard. So it's on you, really. And you got to protect yourself. And, you know, I think that's something that's been good for me and my longevity is I'm very conscious of not taking too many punches and what's good for me and I guess the longevity of my career. I'm pretty good defensively, and it's something that I pay a lot of attention to. You know, I don't just go in and just want to go to war with someone in a sparring session and just try and win every second of every round. I'm working on things when I'm sparring. I'm still going hard and I'm still taking punches, but I'm really mindful of not going to war and just, you know, taking unnecessary risks and taking unnecessary punishment. So when I spar, I would say I spar not light, but I'm pretty, I guess, I'm trying to get something out of it. I spar sensibly. I'm in there practicing and working on different things that I want to improve on or things that me and Angela are working on at that stage of the preparation. And I'm not just going in there to win the spar or go to war or try and hurt them as such. I'm pretty smart and try not to take too much punishment. And that's important to me because at the end of my career...
How do you know if you've had too much punishment in a sparring session?
Yeah, like
Do you walk away from most sparring sessions with a headache? Or?
Not most, but
No?
There's some sparring sessions where you walk away with a headache. And in the last preparation, I had a sparring session where I got rocked pretty bad, and that happens. But you want to avoid that. And yeah, I don't walk away from most sparring sessions with a headache. No way. And if I was, then I'd be pretty alarmed because I want to have a long career, but I also want to be able to have a good life after boxing. And I've got a family and I've got 2 daughters that I want to be there for and still have my wits about me and obviously still be able to have a good life after boxing. So I look at some of the fighters now, you know, that were great fighters and see what they're like post-boxing, and that's not what I want. And obviously boxing is a very dangerous and brutal sport, and yes, I take punishment from time to time, but I think I do a pretty good pretty good. I make a good conscious effort not to take unnecessary punishment.
And what do you do to support your brain? Like, is there anything you do outside of, the exercise and the training and the nutrition that you do to go, okay, I'm going to do some extra things to buffer my brain or just to support my brain in any nutritionally or
it's probably something I could speak to you a bit more about. I know you just blow my mind with your knowledge on this sort of thing. So, no, I don't really. I just try and live a really, really good life. And I think a lot of the, I guess, effects that some of these boxers have had are one from in the ring, yes, but also the abuse that they've done to their body, whether it's post-boxing or during their career. I very, very rarely drink alcohol, don't do drugs, don't go out, don't do anything like that. I live and look after my body really well.
That's so important.
And, try and get the proper amount of sleep. My nutrition's really important. So I just try and look after myself as best I can. And I'm sure I'll speak to you after. I'm sure you've got some nice little tricks to share with brain health.
I've got so many things I want to talk to you about. Maybe we could do another podcast.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Relationships. Like you've got an incredible partner.
Yeah.
2 daughters.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a lot, mate. That's a massive responsibility. I think you need to be I'd want to be a world champion if I had 2 daughters.
Yeah.
But how important has the relationship been in the pursuit of a dream as big as yours?
Oh, amazing. Like, so important. And obviously when you start boxing, like, it was me. It was just a selfish thing that I loved boxing and I wanted to go as far as I could get. But, as time goes on, these things change. And, now I'm a dad and a partner. And, for me, boxing is so important. And my success is so important for them. I want to box and have the best career I can also for myself, but for my family. I want to be able to provide my 2 girls with the best life I can and be a good person and a good partner and a good father for them. And, that I'm not just talking, set them up financially, but just also show them, I guess, what you can achieve in life if you chase your dreams and work hard. I want to show them, I guess, and instill in them good work ethic. And whether it doesn't matter what they want to do. I'm not going to push them towards boxing, but whatever they choose, whatever their passion is.
Are they already starting to throw swings? Or?
Nah. My eldest daughter Isla shows no interest in boxing, which I'm alright with. My youngest Billy, she's only 2, but she looks like she could be the firecracker. She, shadow boxes a little bit, and she goes and puts more slippers on and holds them up and wants me to do pads. And she looks like she could be the one that's drawn more towards boxing, but they're still too young to know. But I just want to show them, good work ethic and good, I guess just good morals and I guess that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve in life and be a good role model for them.
And that's one thing I really admire about you and your brother is you are very, and I think that comes down to the personality when you compare yourself to like a McGregor.
Yeah.
Like he has got this massive persona, but he's also got this almost a party boy.
Yeah.
Lifestyle where he is, clearly in my mind, the way he behaves outside of the ring is setting himself up for some issues down the line.
Yeah,
potentially, which is sad to say because he's such an incredible talent, and he contains so much legacy within him in terms of what he can pass down. But you guys are really sensible, like you say, like you're not out there living the OG life. You're living a very normal, almost super normal life to the point where it's just, early to bed, early to rise. Like it is really,
for some people, boring. And,
I love that.
And
I love boring.
But it's for me, that's what works. I give everything I've got in the gym, but as soon as I get home, my focus is on being the best dad I can be. And I love the time I get with my girls, and I want to be there for them and be present and give them everything I've got when I'm home with them. And I want to have an amazing connection and relationship with them. And obviously at times I've got to be away and boxing has to come first, but they're everything to me, and I want to give them everything I've got and have an amazing connection with them. And when I'm not in the gym, I just want to be with them and give them everything I've got. And I look at someone like Connor, as you say, and living that life, and I just think, like, he's got 3 kids now. I think
That we know of.
Does he ever? Yeah, that we know of. Does he ever spend any time with him? I don't know, but I mean, and I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well,
how he
when you see the photos, and again, social media is the highlight reels.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So it's hard to know. But when you see him with his kids he looks like a pretty devoted kind of dad.
Yeah.
Now, your wife, what's her name again?
Georgia. We're actually not married. We've been engaged for 6 years, I think. But we had our wedding booked, and
COVID.
No, boxing. Believe it or not.
No,
we had the wedding booked, and I was lucky enough to be involved in a tournament called the World Boxing Super Series, and they gave out the schedule and said, this is when your first fight's going to be. You win that, this is when your next fight's going to be. And it fell like the same months as we'd booked our wedding.
Oh,
and I showed Georgia the schedule, and she's amazing. Just whatever. All right.
Roll with the punches.
Cancel the wedding or postpone the wedding. It's been a long postponement.
Well, fuck, cancel. That's a problem. That's a red flag.
Yeah. Postpone the wedding. Yeah. So yeah, we postponed the wedding, and then I had the first world title fight and lost a split decision. So as it turned out, we could have had the wedding, but then we ended up having my first daughter. The same month we were gonna originally get married, and another daughter, and COVID and boxing, and haven't got around to it, but we will get married, and I feel like we're married. You know, to me, we are married.
You've got all the context. The only thing you don't have is a contract, which, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, this is maybe a little bit of a personal question, but I'm genuinely curious. How long have you been with Georgia?
10 years, I think it is.
How long have you been pro?
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
Well, 10 years next year. I'm in my 9th year as a professional, but I think, we've been together about 10 years. Yeah.
So was there ever a period when you were in your, the amateur phase, because obviously not in the professional phase, you've been with Georgia that whole time, where you dated girls and you realised that some women had a positive impact on your
Not really,
career?
but I've seen it.
Okay.
I haven't experienced it. I was very fussy with my choice of who I wanted to spend my time with, and Georgia was really the first proper girlfriend I ever had, because I knew pretty well that this is someone who I want to be with, and someone that's going to support me, and someone I think I can end up with for life, and turns out I did. So I chose wisely.
Wow, this is fairy tale shit.
But she was my first proper girlfriend. But I have definitely seen, I haven't experienced it firsthand, but seen the impact of how important it is that you choose wisely with your partner. Because if they're not on the same page, or they're not going to support you in your quest, then you're not going to make it. You need to have someone that's going to support you every step of the way, which Georgia's done. She, as I said, made a massive sacrifice to move interstate, away from her family. We've now got 2 girls, and she doesn't have much of a support network where we are. So before a fight, I often go away for a month before the fight, and most of my fights are in America, so we'll go over for a month and I guess acclimatise and adjust to the time zone, and just get in proper fight camp where I'm by myself and can, I guess, become the warrior, become the killer that I need to be. And unfortunately that means time away from family, but she just takes it all in her stride and does her part to support me and my dream. And
what a fairy tale.
I've chosen very wisely.
Have you ever thought about making the switch, transitioning? Like, everyone seems to be transitioning in one way, shape or form at the moment, but from boxing to MMA or anything like that?
Nah, it's never interests me.
Is that because every time you have a wrestle with Georgia, she beats you? Or?
Yeah, that's it. Nah, look, I don't know. It's just never interests me. I've always just loved boxing, the pure, I guess, aspect
pugilist.
The pugilist. But look, never say never. I don't know if the opportunity was there, but I think boxing just, it's my love, and I don't think I'll ever go away from it. I'll give this sport everything I've got. Have you ever trained jiu-jitsu? No, I haven't.
Because you've got the physique for it. You'd be a wiry, wild little animal. Look, I do want to give a bit of a shout out to Anthony Bell, because Belly is how we met.
Yep.
He runs his high performance camp usually once a year with Danny Green and both the Moloney boys, Angelo Hyder, and we normally have it's a who's who. And I'm really grateful and he's been, he's essentially also back. Is he sponsored?
He's a sponsor, yep.
Yeah.
Belly, supports me and Andrew, and he's been awesome for our careers, and just a good mate. good supporter. And yeah, we've got the next HPC coming up in Feb, which I'm looking forward to. And
I am gutted. I'm on tour.
Oh,
and he's not
going to be missed, eh?
I know. And I said to Belly, he said you can move it.
Yeah, come on. I'll have a chat to Belly. We're going to have to move it if you want to come, mate.
Mate, I'd love to. I feel like I really fit in with the amount of brain injuries I've got. Like I'm a perfect fit for me and Anjo. We go way back now. Yeah. So, mate, point us toward the future. What does it look like? Where are you heading? What's going on?
So the first defence of my belt is January 13. I'm fighting in Quebec, in Canada. I'm fighting against a guy called Saul Sanchez. He's Mexican-American. But, that'll be the first defence of my belt. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be a hard fight. I'm expecting a hard fight, but all the fights are going to be hard from here on out when you got the belt. And everyone, the hunter becomes the hunted. And, then I'm expecting a hard fight, but I'm putting in the work to make sure that nobody comes close to taking that belt away from me. And then the goal is to collect all the belts. That's the goal now, to become the undisputed champion of the world, which for those that don't follow boxing, there is multiple champions in each weight division. But the goal now is to collect all the other belts and to become the undisputed champion, which means that, you hold all the belts.
Who do you want to fight? Let's call them out.
Emmanuel Rodriguez, I want that fight. So that's who I lost to in my first world title.
Was that the robbery?
No, it was a split decision.
Okay.
So I lost by 1 round, which was, just gut-wrenching. Like, that was my dream, become world champion. That was my first attempt at a world title, and fought him in Orlando, Florida, and I thought at the end of the fight that I'd done enough, but unfortunately, one judge gave it to me, and the other 2 judges gave it to him by 1 round. So, if I don't know, took control for another 30 seconds of the fight, I was a world champion, but I didn't. But
Rodriguez were coming for you.
So we're coming for him, get revenge over him. Then the other world champion is a Mexican who I want to fight, Santiago. And then Anui, who I lost to in my second world title fight, his brother holds the other belt. So I'll get a little bit of revenge by beating his brother as well. So there's some fights out there that I want.
Okay.
And there's some,
Are you calling them out? Like, is
we're trying to make those fights happen.
Yeah,
we're trying to make.
How do we make those fights happen? What do we need to do?
It'll happen. I knew he's got another fight lined up, so he was busy. Rodriguez actually oddly announced he was retiring, and
he's afraid.
Yeah, he's afraid.
Rodriguez, we know you're afraid.
He announced his retirement, and then 3 days later, he was out of retirement. He doesn't know what he wants to do, but
it's a negotiation strategy.
We're trying to put those fights together, and it will happen. So we'll have the first defence of the belt in January, and then next year is the year we go after the other champions and collect the belts and build the legacy.
Okay. And are you chasing sponsors at the moment? Is there any? Always chasing sponsors.
And I can't even put into words how grateful I am for my sponsors, because.
Let's give a shout out to them. We've got Anthony Bell, loyal.
Yeah, we've got my major sponsors, Forest One, Ian Fankenel. He's been with us since day one. He's just been absolutely amazing. And everyone looks at you from the outside and maybe thinks, oh, he's a world champion, he's killing it. But I've only had 1 fight this year, and it's not paying enough to make me sit on the shelf for 12 months. So without my sponsors, I would be in a lot of trouble. I'd be homeless, possibly. So,
Jesus.
My sponsors.
So Forest One, we love you.
They're the backbone. Yeah, Forest One, the Plumbers Union, they're amazing. They've been with us as well since the amateur days. So
right.
When I was a plumber, they were supporting me. So they were amazing. So when I did my plumbing apprenticeship, they were incredible. And if I wanted time off, they'd let me have time off. If I wanted a week off before a fight to freshen up and let the body get fresh, they would look after me. Yep, have the time off. They'd still pay me. They were absolutely incredible. But it became a time where, as good as it would have been to have, I guess, a plan B or a plumbing license to fall back on post boxing, plan B was taken away from plan A way too much, and I couldn't be in the gym the way I wanted to be in the gym, and I wasn't training the way a world champion was training, and I just said, I'm going to put this on hold, and hopefully I never go back to plumbing. But they were an amazing support when I needed them, and they still support me now so much.
That's amazing.
And I couldn't do it without them. So they're the 2 majors. I've got other sponsors, but I won't bore you by rattling them all off. But without them, I'd be in a lot of trouble, and I'm so grateful for them and allowing me to chase my dream.
So if there's any big Australian businesses out there, or international for that matter, that would like to get behind the Australian sport, because we need, let's be honest, we need more grassroots movement in this.
We do.
In this sport. So how can people find out more about you, Jason? How can people find out more about your fights and, you know, the opportunities upcoming? Where can they go?
Social media, obviously. I'm on, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. And I've got a website, teammoloney.com. So jump on there and have a look and follow us. I'm always grateful to anyone who wants to follow my career and support me in any way. As I said, I'm excited for what's to come, and hopefully we can build a real big fan base in Australia. I want to bring some big fights here, but I guess it's a worldwide thing, as you said. So I'm now the world champion, but I still feel like there's a lot more to achieve in this sport.
So final question, what are the 3 things that you believe have equipped you with the mindset to be able to go through everything that you've gone through and to continue to show up every single day, despite the amount of punishment, challenge, robberies, all the things that come with being in a professional combat sport? What is it within your mindset that enables you to do that? That someone could listen to and go, "Oh, I've either got that, or I need to develop that."
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I've just been relentless. I haven't taken no for an answer, and talked about the amateur career not really going the way I hoped my amateur career would. Talked about my first 2 world title attempts falling short both times. But I always just believed that I was going to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and that was become world champion. And I never gave up, and I was just relentless every day, just improve, and always believe that I could achieve this dream. And obviously getting to a stage where you're the best in the world at anything is tough, but always believed I could do it, and it was just a matter of putting in the hard work and being relentless, as I said, being consistent over time, not giving up because it didn't work out the first time, not giving up because it didn't work out the second time, just sticking at it and believing that it would eventually happen.
You're also very gritty. You like doing hard things.
Yeah.
Which is evident by the way you train.
Yeah. It certainly hasn't come easy, and I love that. That's what makes it sweeter, I think. I didn't just, have this, I wasn't an Olympic gold medalist like you see some guys that just walk into the professional ranks and almost get everything handed to them and just have this undefeated record where everything's just so, they just coast through it. And to me, I really had to dig deep, and I took the hard road, and there's been plenty of setbacks along the way, but they've just helped shape me, and also helped make this, when I did achieve it, just helped make it so much sweeter. I think the reason it felt so good to become world champion is because of how hard it was to get there.
Relentless, consistent, and gritty as fuck.
Yeah.
Mate, it's been so good to catch up with you. I hope we can get Belly to move HPC. We've got some good names coming next year by the sounds of it.
It does. It sounds awesome.
Sounds really good, mate.
Yeah. But those things have just been great. Obviously the HPC, as you said, but to meet people like you, mate, it's been awesome, and I could sit down and listen to you for hours. I know
we've been talking about doing something together for a long time.
You blow my mind, and I'm grateful to be on here with you, and I love what you're doing, and amazing to see. I didn't know before today about your setbacks, but it's great to see where you are now, mate. It's a credit to yourself that you've been able to get yourself back to where you are now, and I'm always inspired by you, mate. So thanks for having me.
So what better could I do is go back to fight camp and get punched in the head if you watch. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Unstoppable, and I'm absolutely stoked to have had an incredible conversation with the one, the only, the WBO. Let's get that right. World champion Jason, the motherfucker Moloney. Do you have a fight name? What's your middle? Is it
Mayhem?
Mayhem. It's better than motherfucker, isn't it? Jason Mayhem Moloney. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason, thank you so much, brother.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thank you, mate. This episode is brought to you by Nail It and Scale It, the world's leading fast growth program for businesses. If you have ever wanted to grow your business faster than what you can right now, if you need to make more revenue, if you need more leads, if you need more clients, if you need to know how to plan your business in a strategic way in order to hit big goals, if you need to learn how to scale your business and grow your team and your business so that you have more freedom, then this program is for you. Imagine 3 days immersed with me where we cover all aspects of business, but we do it from an immersive but also an execution standpoint. We execute every step of the way, and we're looking at 5 key areas. We're looking at your psychology, we're looking at your marketing, your sales, your leadership, and we're looking at your planning and how we integrate these 5 key areas to grow your business and your brand quickly. So if you'd like to find out more information, kerwinrae.com.